No More Heroes 3 is honestly one of the best games of 2021. Suda51 and Grasshopper Manufacture are some of the absolute gaming geniuses that we as gamers need to appreciate more of, because they're willing to do what so many major companies are unwilling to do in gaming nowadays. And that's experiment and be willing to think outside the box and do things entirely different for the sake of a creative and original experience. Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about No More Heroes 3. So No More Heroes 3 is exclusive for right now, as far as I know. I think it's exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. And it is absolutely one of the most zany, insane, fun, creative, and essentially original titles of 2021. I mean, I look at a lot of things that have come out, and a lot of things have just been by the books, routine. Like, there's really not a whole lot new with them. But with this, you look at the earlier No More Heroes titles, like 1 and 2 on the Wii, and then you look at the Travis Strikes Again No More Heroes game, and you just look at the progression that has happened along the way to where Suda51 is not tethered. This is just him balls to the walls doing what he does, and he's getting to peer into his mind and how it works, and it is absolutely insane and fun at the same time. Because as a gamer, especially as someone who can get all the different references, because I've been gaming for 30 years, it is absolutely Anyways, so No More Heroes. Shout out to Grasshopper Manufacture for providing a review copy of this game. This is how I'm able to review it on the Nintendo Switch. And also, if you want to pick it up, I'll leave a link for Best Buy and Amazon down in the description below. So in this video, we're going to do a review of it. I'm going to tell you what I like, what I dislike, and whether you should or shouldn't pick up the game. But before we do all that, make sure you sub to the channel, ding the notification bell. That way you can stay up to date on all the latest and greatest content that comes from this channel. If you want to pick up some merch, we got merch on Teespring and TeePublic, and if you want to support what we do, we got channel memberships as well as Patreon. All that being said, let's go ahead and talk about No More Heroes 3 and why I love this game. This just made me realize how much I love the franchise. But anyway, this game in particular, we're going to talk about it. No More Heroes 3 starts off with an 8-bit retro gaming intro that leads into a flashback of Damon, previously seen in Travis Strikes Again No More Heroes, wandering around in some woods and finding an ET-like alien named FU, pronounced as Fu, whom he goes on to establish a bond and friendship with. And over time, Damon and Fu build a spaceship so that Fu can return to his home planet, of which the two say their goodbyes to one another. Fast forward 20 years later, and Damon is one of the most wealthy and powerful people on the planet Earth, and is often reminiscing about his time with Fu when suddenly spaceships appear, and Fu descends along with his ragtag group and asks, demands Damon to help him, quotate, help him, conquer Earth. A group of aliens destroy part of Travis's neighborhood and wake him up from his nap, and he goes outside to take the fight to them and stop the megalomaniac known as Fu. Gameplay. Explaining the gameplay of No More Heroes 3 is a bit complicated because it isn't just one particular genre, but it is many crammed into one game. The core combat of No More Heroes 3 is the most enjoyable that it's ever been in the franchise, with some of the smoothest hack and slash action I've seen on the platform, with his beam katana combos that just flow so fluidly, and not to mention the finishing blows which look oh so devastating. This is as visceral as it gets, with you hacking away at your enemies until they sputter up blood all over the place. Boss fights are still as insane and creative as they've ever been, and get increasingly more varied so that no two fights ever feel the same. They require you to have a level of competency with Travis and his moveset to stand a chance at winning, as the series has always done. The bosses are all fun to fight and get you into trying to figure out creative ways to beat them. However, they lack the charm of the earlier entries UAA bosses, and the generally grounded tone of the earlier No More Heroes games. That's not to say that they aren't as endearing, as each boss has lovable aspects about them, especially Fu. It's just that, for me, I feel the UAA characters were better overall. Carrying over from Travis Strikes Again is the Death Glove, which allows for bullet time like time manipulation, an incredibly powerful dropkick, and more. As in previous games, you can do some crafting at the Sound Destroy apartment, which is a much more streamlined process in comparison to the older titles where it was time consuming. One of the greatest aspects of gameplay added was the space combat, which happens when Travis utilizes his full armor form and takes off to battle the galactic threat using controls that feel like a merge of Zone the Enders and Daemon X Machina, and is insanely addicting. One gameplay element that was brought back from the first game that was heavily lambasted was the open world traversal that would have you roaming around in an almost empty sandbox style environment, except here you get that along with the ability to travel to multiple islands. Thankfully, in all that traversal, you now have access to fast travel that means that the monotonous romp is not so monotonousy? Is that even a word? Well, whatever. You get what I mean. As you move about the map, you'll start to take part in some arena fights known as designated matches, where you'll fight through a gauntlet of enemies so you can get cash and notoriety, allowing you to enter ranking battles to fight one of the galactic superheroes. Many games return and are much more streamlined and modernized in comparison to the first No More Heroes, with things a bit more relevant to the times we're in now, such as mining crypto and shooting down alligators in a tank. And well, I don't really know how shooting down alligators in a tank is relevant to modern times, but hey, go with it. And yet older mini games such as lawn mowing return as well. Now, are these mini games fun to play? Well, they are certainly more fun than the older titles, but they aren't necessarily what I would describe as fun. They honestly serve to pull me out of the No More Heroes 3 experience, as they feel so far removed from what that game was as a whole. Graphics. The game has a very high level of polish that is often not seen from third-party games on the Switch, and runs at 60 frames per second in both modes. Well, we'll get more into that. Character models look a lot better than they did in No More Heroes 2, with a lot more detail added to the character models. Environments, however, pale substantially in comparison to the characters, with very little detail and often have texture pop in. When driving about, you'll really feel like you're moving about an empty sandbox in buildings and structures that look incredibly bland. I honestly feel like this is not only done because of both the limitations of the hardware and because of the visual style that Suda51 is going for. Docked, No More Heroes 3 is the optimal way to play the game, as you won't really run into any performance issues and will be able to enjoy the game's beautiful graphics and presentation. It's when you play it in handheld mode that you lose a lot of that shine, and things are either stripped down or run pretty roughly. In handheld mode, the game's performance is all over the place, as the frame rate will drop noticeably from 60 frames per second down to the 20s when there's too much going on. And graphically, the game's vibrant and colorful graphics get dialed down to look duller. When the game isn't having these issues in handheld mode, it fires on all cylinders for some of the best white knuckle action you can find on the system. Audio. This area of the game is just glorious, as Robin Acting Downs really delivers one of the absolute best performances I've ever heard him do as Travis. And having a character like Fu, who is basically a counter to Travis, go back and forth with him is incredible. The voice acting is incredible, and it's probably the best I've heard in a game all year. The game's soundtrack is a banger, especially during missions and boss fights, and keeps your adrenaline going as you hack into and mow down baddies. Downsides. The biggest downside or issue here is the fact that you can feel that there is nowhere left for Suda51 to take Travis after this adventure without the game having the sense of been there, done that, lingering over it, as even this game most definitely has that feeling too, with it feeling like the joke has run its course and is a bit long in the tooth. The other downside is the performance dips in portable mode that I mentioned earlier, as that really brings a hamper on the fun you can have with this game on the go. I could bring up the mini games, but I feel like that's always been an annoyance in this franchise, so I don't feel I need to speak on it here. The wrap up. No More Heroes 3 is, from a gameplay and visual standpoint, one of the best games in the series and holds nothing back. From a narrative standpoint, I honestly can't believe that I'm saying that in a No More Heroes game. The series feels like it's run its course, even with some of the massively surprising reveals that happen over the course of the game. All that aside, No More Heroes 3 is most definitely a game that shows that Suda51 truly put himself into his own game and isn't as held back from a creative standpoint in his expression due to the hardware in the way that he was before on the Wii, and that's something we as gamers, should truly appreciate. The art and creativity that is on display here, with incredibly fun and fluid controls, an over-the-top zany adventure, with characters you won't forget, a soundtrack that gets you pumped up and never lets you down, and most of all, being able to step back into the shoes of Travis Touchdown makes No More Heroes 3 one of the best games of 2021 and one of the absolute best games on Nintendo Switch. The verdict? Buy it. And that's it. That's the review for No More Heroes 3 for the Nintendo Switch. Again, shout out to Grasshopper Manufacture for providing a review copy of this game. I do know that I'm getting this review out a lot later than other reviewers have, as well as, it's already out to the public. But, and I want to peel back the curtain a little bit, because there is, as a reviewer, you kind of do want to get game reviews or tech reviews or just reviews in general out before the general public gets access to it. However, there are times when I feel like I just need to take extra time with something. Maybe there's something I missed. Maybe there's something I need to dive more into. So if ever there's a review that comes out and it seems like it's taking me longer to get it out, that's why. But all that being said, I love No More Heroes 3. I'm glad I got to take time with it, to cherish it, to relish it, and to experience the magnum opus of what Suda51 really wanted to do. But what do you think? Did you enjoy it? Are you looking forward to it? Is it something that just didn't tickle your fancy, or have you moved past the series already? Whatever your thoughts are, let's get the conversation going in the comment section below. And if you want to take the conversation further, we do have Discord as well as Guilded. Links for those are in the description below. If you want to pick up this game, I will leave a link for this down in the description below as well, for Best Buy and for Amazon. And also, if you want to pick up some merch, we got merch over on TeePublic and Teespring. And also, if you want to support the channel, we do have channel memberships and Patreon. All that being said, I'm Mekel Kasanova. I'm signing out. I hope y'all have a great and aloha rest of your day. Deuces, wow, too sweet, be the elite. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Mahalo for making it to the end of the video. I really appreciate your support by those of you who like the videos, who watch them, who subscribe. And for those of you who are my Patreon supporters, thank you for your continued support, because you help make this possible. If you enjoy my work and you'd like to support what we do have Patreon on patreon.com/MekelKasanova. We also have Coffee as well as Subscribestar. So there's various methods if you want to support the work that we do here. We also have channel membership, so make sure you check that out. That way you get up to date on all the latest and greatest content that comes here, and first, and exclusive content as well. And if you enjoy the work that I do and you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So with that being said, I'm Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii content creator. I hope to see you on the next one. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ding the notification bell. And all that being said, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.